Back here in First Things First, Jenna Wolfe, Nick Wright, Kevin Wildes, and we've got some exciting news to pass along. A big programming note that's about to make our mornings here on First Things First a whole lot more exciting. Nick, why don't you break the news for us?
This is great. I'm so excited. Listen, the last year has had massive changes for all of us. This show is no different. We went to our homes out of studio. We added Kevin Wildes. Jenna Wolfe expanded from 100 burpees a day to 200 burpees a day. I actually grew hair. But the most important change and the best change is actually coming Monday at 7:30 in the morning, where we get to invite full-time to the show our newest All-Pro. You know him from inside the NFL. He's the single best person on it. There's a lot of great people on it. You know him from leading the NFL in touchdown catches. You know him from being an All-Pro receiver and an all-around amazing guy. Brandon Marshall becomes our newest host of the show starting Monday at 7:30. We've worked with him. He is so much fun. You guys know how great he is. I cannot wait for Monday, Kevin Wildes.
Yeah, you know, between Cam joining the Patriots and Brandon joining the show, it's been a great offseason for me and my new teammates. And I think Brandon has epitomized a team-first mindset throughout his whole career. If we can take a look at his numbers and the sort of the teamwork that we've had together, 970 receptions, 12,000 yards, 83 touchdowns, 2 fantasy titles, and 6 Pro Bowls. And I know a lot of people say, like, wow, I think those are, like, mostly Brandon stats. Like, yeah, mostly, but I don't know if you know what a team is. This is our stats. Jenna and Nick, you're included in this, but it's mostly me and Brandon, so I'm excited as well, Jenna.
Well, I just want to tell you that I'm sitting here scrolling through Brandon's Instagram page. You should do it. And I can't help but know that for the first time in a long time, I might not be the most athletic host on the show. He is unbelievable. I know he was a professional football player. No, I'm talking fitness. Working out. Listen, let me just say, I'm excited to talk some burpees with someone other than Wildes and Nick for a change. But anyway, Monday morning, right here on First Things First, we're super excited. He will be joining our team. He'll talk football. He might.
First up, burpees. How many burpees did you do, Brandon?
All right, you know what? I'll get to that on the second day. We're going to bring in Chris Broussard. Stories to start your morning, folks. Let's move this along. Sponsored by Ram Trucks. Great Freak and the Bucks looking to get back on track tonight after their stunning Game 1 loss to the Magic on Tuesday. Nick, what are you expecting from the top-seeded Milwaukee Bucks tonight?
For the Bucks to assert their dominance and win by 25 plus. Honestly, anything short of that, and I will start to be moderately concerned, Broussard. I've tried not to, in any of these series, overreact or react drastically differently than how I felt about any of these teams 96 hours ago. But if the Bucks not only forget winning, they need to dominate tonight to remind everyone what made them the favorite before the season stopped, Broussard.
I agree with you, Nick, on the outcome and on your sentiment, because if this is a close game, not only could it show that the Bucks aren't what we thought they were, but they could actually lose. They only played 5 what we call close games in the NBA all season long. That was the fewest among playoff teams, and they were 3-2. And the problem in close games is that a team can back in the paint, keep Giannis from the rim, and then they have to go elsewhere to beat them. And it's Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, Eric Bledsoe, and these other guys up to that challenge. So they need to blow out Orlando, and I actually think they will.
Okay, I hope so. We know they led in point differential. The interesting thing that came out of the Magic postgame, they're like, yeah, we kind of like playing with no crowd. When Giannis does those big spinning dunks and they get a little bit nervous, like, there's no crowd. They just come down, boom, hit another play, and it keeps Orlando in it. So I don't know. This is registering on the Richter scale of nervousness for me, Broussard. Just registering. It's not crazy, but it is like, ooh, there's some tremors of nervousness there.
Young analyst.
We'll find out tomorrow.
I told you about
Mavs taking down the Clippers.
You don't even know how to respond. Like, well, I'm young, but he's insulting me. It's like a weird thing. You don't know how to respond. It's nice that I'm called young.
Taking on the Clippers last night to even up the series. Luka gave you 28, 8, and 7. Kawhi had a 35-point double-double. Not enough, though. Hey, Broussard, what adjustments, if any, you think the Clippers are going to need to make here?
Well, the first adjustment is an attitude adjustment. And I actually think that's the most important. Look, I feel like they've had a nonchalant, entitled attitude all season long. They've been able to drop players in and out of the lineup and still win big, and that has led them to think that they can just step on the floor and win. The Mavericks now have their attention. I think that will lead to improved defense on the part of the Clippers, and I think offensively they'll move the ball more and not be so much ISO. So I expect the Clippers to play much better going forward and close out this series.
Listen, I think that everyone is way overreacting. The Clippers weren't at full strength. They weren't fully locked in. Once they get all their guys back and they start focusing, they should be fine. And that should happen around February. So beginning of next season, no problems. Now, over the next 4 days, it could be an issue. I don't see Patrick Beverley walking through that door, and God knows, you can't win a game without your 5th or 6th best player. You just can't. It's just asking too much. And when the Clippers were building this team, Wilds, they clearly just didn't put an emphasis on perimeter defense. Because if they did, Luka Doncic wouldn't be setting records trying to beat George Mikan for most points through 2 career playoff games, even though he barely played in the second half last night, passing Lou Alcindor. So, yeah, listen, Clippers will be fine by sometime next year. I'm sure of it, Wilds. I'm confident of it.
Broussard, you talk about attitude, and Mr. 94 Feet didn't play yesterday. But do you think that's like Kawhi being too quiet? Is that like kind of like you're saying that Kawhi needs to be more vocal? Because that's
no, can't criticize
happening.
Can't criticize.
Yeah, he can't be who he's not. It'd be nice if he were vocal like that. But you bring up a good point in that Beverly is clearly their inspirational leader. Now, Lou Williams is also a vocal guy and a leader on that team, but he doesn't bring it defensively, so he can only say so much about that end of the floor. But look, Montrezl Harrell still a little bit rusty, which is expected. He's been away for about a month, really about 4 or 5 months because of the pandemic. So I think they'll be fine. And like I said,
Broussard's got him in 5. Broussard's got him in 5.
They got to win every game. They got to win every game now. On to the Sixers Game 2 struggles. Jason Tatum, he was impressive once again, going for a playoff career-high 33. And though Joel Embiid finished with 34 and 10, it was in a losing effort. Nick Wright, what do the Sixers need to change if they want to get back into this series?
Oh, there's nothing. They're not going to get back into the series, and it's way, way, way worse than that. They are in real trouble organizationally. And it was, the line, it was all good just a week ago. It was all good just 36 months ago. You had all this cap space. You had the upcoming number 3 pick of the draft. You had drafted Simmons. You had drafted Embiid. And then it all started falling apart around the time Brian Colangelo was sending out tweets about collared shirts from burner accounts, and they desperately traded up to get Markelle Fultz. You trade up to get Fultz. You include another first-round pick to do that. The team you trade with in Boston ends up drafting Jason Tatum, who's one of the 2 best players from the draft class. Fultz isn't even on the team anymore.
On his way to being a star.
You then compound the error by thinking you are closer to a title than you actually are and cashing in all your assets for Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. You don't get out of the second round with them. You then have to choose between Butler and Tobias Harris, and you choose Tobias. It was obviously the wrong call then. It is egregiously the wrong call now. He's owed another $150 million over the next 4 years. So have fun with that. You then compound that error by going out and getting Al Horford, who's owed another 75 so million over the next 3 years. That ain't great. And now what do? Broussard, they're going to blame Brett Brown, and they're going to fire him. But Tobias Harris on a 5-year, $180 million deal, and he's giving you 14 points. Al Horford, they signed for $100 million. He's giving you 5 points. Like, their guys other than Embiid have to step up, and I just think they've built this team wrong, and all of a sudden they have no cap space, don't have a ton of assets, unless you want to get rid of one of your 2 stars. And I think they're in real trouble, Broussard.
Well, I'm with you on this series. They're down 0-2, and they're going to lose. There's no question about it. I think I picked it to be 6 games, but I don't even know if they'll last that long. Organizationally, they do need to move on from Brett Brown. He did a great job through the process, but now it's time to move on. They really made a big mistake, Nick. One that you failed to mention was they had Monty Williams, who was a superstar in the bubble, leading Phoenix to an 8-0 record. He was on their bench. A lot of people thought he was going to get the head coaching job. They let him go to Phoenix, and now you wish you had him back. But whatever the case, they need to go and get a different head coach who they believe strongly, because he impresses them in the interview and with his history. They believe that he can maximize Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons together. I would give it 1 year. And if they go out early next year again with those two healthy,
you gave
and it just can't work, then you move. Well, you don't know, because Ben's not here. This might be a different series if Ben Simmons were here. So that's unfortunate, but give it 1 more year, see if it works. If it doesn't, then you trade one of those two, and I think it would be Embiid. And here's the thing, Nick, you're right about their cap space. But if you trade Embiid, you will get talent in return. You could get a host of shooters for Joel Embiid to put around Ben Simmons, and I would play Simmons like Milwaukee plays Giannis. Let him bring the ball up court, let him push it in transition, let him post up, and put shooters around him and see what that gets you.
We got a lot of problems that lie ahead. All right, take a break. Coming up, did Luka strike fear into Kawhi and the Clippers last night? Nick says yes. First things first.